Shalom YouTube, Sister Kate here. Doing a expose, doing a tell-all, doing a confession, if you would have it that way. Earlier in the week, I was in town with a sister. We were running errands. We went to the bank. We went and washed some clothes. She had a whole bunch of clothes backed up. Yes, it's not a sin to use a laundromat. And I was talking on my phone, and I went into a gas station to get a drink. And when I when I was done getting the drink, I was talking on my phone, and I walked right out of the gas station. Did not pay for the drink. That's my confession. That's my sin right there. So, once I realized what I'd done, of course I went back and made it okay. And it took me 10-15 minutes because I had walked. I had walked from the laundromat to the gas station, so it was not an immediate turnaround and then go back. So, what is my point to you besides confessing that I made a mistake? Well, what occurred to me when I figured out that I hadn't paid for the drink, first thing that tipped me off was that I should have had change in my pocket. And when I reached in and grabbed my money, I realized I had not broken the bill that I had. And that's when I said, "Oh," and then remembered what I'd done. So that's a lesson to me. Don't be distracted, because I definitely was distracted by the phone call. It was an important phone call. So I knew I needed to go back. And what went through my head as I walked back was, they could have called the police on me. I know they have me on tape. All those places have tape now. They could have called the cops and said, "Hey, she stole that drink." So I walked back, and lo and behold, the owner manager is sitting outside texting or something. She's distracted. I go inside. There's several customers. They are eating their breakfast and texting and talking to each other. They're distracted. The clerk is busy. She's doing things like counting the money or checking stock or whatever, so she didn't even notice. And when I confessed to the owner and the clerk, they just kind of laughed and said, "Oh, it's all right." And then I paid for the drink and I left. But what also went through my mind was this. I've been in that store many, many times. Buy gas there, stop and get snacks there sometimes. They know me, and they know me mainly through my head covering, because I'm that lady. I'm the one who comes in there covered all the time, and I'm nice when I'm in there. I'm polite. So I have a good rapport with them. Do you have a good rapport with people you deal with? What kind of customer, what kind of friend are you? I don't know, several months ago, I went in there and I bought gas, and I used a credit card on the outside of the gas machine, and it did something weird, which it normally doesn't do. It kept saying that it wasn't working, that it's not taking my credit card. And so on the last one, when I ran it through, it said authenticated. So I thought, okay, it's good to go. I pumped my gas, and then I left. That was technically a drive-off. It was authenticated because the clerk inside had said, "Yes, you can have gas," but that meant I was supposed to go in and pay for it inside. And not being used to that, used to just using my card, I thought everything was good, and I left. And in that instance, it was a much bigger amount of money, and the owner, again, had already known me. We've lived here almost, 3 years, so he knew I was that lady. He knew what vehicle I drove, and he knew I had the head coverings on, and that I was pretty honest and personable. And so he spoke to me about it the next time I was in there, and I still didn't quite understand what he was saying. I'm like, "What are you talking about? My credit card worked." And I said, "Okay, here's what I'll do. I will check my credit card records for the time," because I knew approximately the day that it is, and if it didn't charge me, I will come back and pay for the gas. And so he let me do that. 4 weeks later, my bill comes in. I check the bill. There is no charge for that gas on there. So I go in, and I brought him cash. Actually, I didn't write a check for usually what a fill-up costs me. And he was okay with that. And he said, "And the reason I didn't call on you is because I know who you are." And he doesn't know my name. He just knows me as that lady who comes in. So the good report I have with that place was established even back then, and even before then, when in the year or two before that time, I came in regularly and paid and was kind and, you know, just not a problem customer. And I'm sure they get plenty. So if you're the person who's not a problem, sometimes you stick out and people are willing to treat you like a human, and you get treated like a human because you treat them like a human first. And so go back to good report. Do you have a good report with people who deal with you? Do they know they can trust you? And if you do, then you should. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but you will probably reap the rewards of that. And so it's worth your effort to be pleasant in the first place. All right, bless you. Hope this, speaks to your heart in some way. Shalom.